All right, guys, welcome to another live stream. Welcome to another live stream. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. All right, so in today's live stream, I'm going to talk about how I'm going to simplify my finances going into 2025, how I plan to simplify my finances going into 2025. Now, I kind of looked at my financial structure, my bank accounts, my credit cards, investments and things like that, and I plan on simplifying it down uh, to to a place where it's just easy to manage, right? So right now I have multiple accounts, multiple bank accounts, and I don't see the need to have all these accounts because one, it's a lot to manage, and two, I really just don't see the benefit. Now, we'll go into each of the items so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, and you'll see why. All right. So the first thing on the list, I want to reduce the amount of credit cards that I have. Now, most people would say, "Oh, well, just keep your credit card open. You don't need to get rid of any credit cards. You end up damaging your credit if you close out a credit card and stuff like that. It doesn't look good." To be honest, I've closed out credit cards before, and it hasn't really affected my credit score like that. So I'm not sure. It really doesn't prevent you from getting any house, or if I wanted to get a house, I don't even want to get a house at this point, or a property. But to me, it doesn't hurt you in any way as far as getting credit in the future. And for me, the organization of having less credit cards is worth it, opposed to just having stuff outstanding. Also, having multiple credit cards open, for me, is kind of like a liability because you run the risk of people hacking your account or taking your credit card information or something like that, and then you need to dispute that. So now, obviously, it's easier to dispute that with a credit card, but again, I just want to simplify it. So, all right. So currently, I have. Let me see. I wrote it down. I have one, two, three, four, five, six credit cards. Right. So I have two from Chase. I have one Sapphire Preferred, one Chase Freedom, two from Citi, the Citi Simplicity, the Citi Custom Cash, and then I have the Apple credit card. If you guys are not familiar with that, Apple has a credit card, and it's pretty easy to get it. I actually don't even think I have a card for it. I think it's just on my phone. So that's two from Chase, two from Citi, and one from Apple. That's five. I have the Bilt credit card, which I use to pay my rent. And then I had an Amex, but I closed that one out like a year or two ago. So yeah, so what I plan on doing, I plan on closing out the two from Citi and just keeping everything else, right? Because the Apple card, I could use that to, if I purchase a new Apple product and stuff like that, I get points, and it's convenient, right? So I'm not going to close that one out. I'm going to keep my Chase open. The reason why I'm going to keep my Chase open and not the Citi is because Chase is just everywhere. Like if you go to any state, there's so many Chase bank accounts, and that's what I realized, right? And we'll talk about it once I get into my bank accounts. But yeah, I just noticed there's a Chase everywhere, and then also with Chase, like you can increase your limits, right? Like and that goes for the bank accounts as well. But like Chase is just easy, right? Chase is just global. You don't have to worry about, oh, if I go to this state, there's not going to be a Chase, and for me, it's just convenient. Hey, what's up, Antonio? So I'm gonna get rid of my Citi. I'm gonna get the two Cities. So I have the Citi Simplicity, Citi Custom Cash, but I'm gonna keep my Freedom. I'm gonna keep my Sapphire Preferred, and my Apple and my Bilt. Now, the Bilt one, I honestly, that one has been clutch, right? I honestly, last year I gained like 20 to 30,000 points just on the Bilt credit card from paying my rent. So if you don't have the Bilt credit card right now, if you're a person that has an apartment, and you're not using Bilt, I'm not sure what you're doing, right? You need to get the Bilt credit card. You need to make sure you're getting those points. I mean, it's an extra, like I said, I got an extra 30,000 points last year just from paying my rent. with the Bill credit card. I see a lot of people still paying their credit card, still paying their rent with cash, and you're not getting the points. I think last year I got 2 or 3 free flights basically with the credit card. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. The first thing I'm going to do to simplify my finances going into 2025 is I'm going to reduce my credit cards. Now, I'm not sure when I'm going to do this, but it's going to happen, right? I want it to get to the point where at the end of 2025, I'm not managing, I'm not using, because sometimes like you'll use a credit card and maybe you don't have it on you, or for some reason you just use one and then you have money on one credit card, then you got to worry about paying the minimum the balance at the end of the month. So I really want to simplify that. It's really annoying to me to have all these credit cards out, and the reason why I don't keep it open, because a lot of people say, why don't you keep it open? It's not gonna it's not gonna hurt you. Well, for me, if I keep it open, it's just going to be a liability, right? It's something that is open credit, and it could potentially get hacked into, or something like that. So that's the first thing I'm going to do in 2025. I'm going to reduce my credit cards. All right, number two, I'm going to reduce my bank accounts, right? So right now, I have 2 credit unions. I have, I have one with, it's called Mid Florida. For those of you that are familiar with Florida, Mid Florida is a big credit union. And then I have USF. So I went to the University of South Florida for college. I got a finance degree, for those of you who don't know. And when I was there, I actually worked at the USF credit union. So, and actually throughout my whole career, I worked at banks. So this is kind of why I have a lot of, bank accounts. Because typically when you work there, you want to get a, bank account just to see how the products work. So I ended up getting a USF bank account, credit union bank account, Mid Florida, and I do not like credit unions. Now I'm going to give you the benefits of the credit unions, and then I'm going to give you the downfalls of the credit unions. The benefits. All right, so the benefits are you get low interest rates, right? Because it's like a community bank, and they're typically able to offer slightly lower rates than your banks, right? But to be honest, I really don't see the difference these days, because some of the rates look exactly like banks. And then two, it's kind of easier to get credit lines like personal loans and stuff like that, because it's a community bank and things like that. So they kind of they're a little more lenient. But those are really the only 2 things that I saw benefits. Right now, the downfalls of having a credit union is the they don't keep up with the tech, right? Like if you go to a credit union, you got to fill out all this paperwork to withdraw $20. Like I'm literally filling out a transaction slip. I got to put my social security. I got to put my address. I got to put my name. I got to put, my whole driver's license, right, number. So it's really not fun to deal with the credit union right now. I'm pretty sure there's some credit unions that are up to date. I think there's like one called Growth Financial. But again, I don't need that, right? Because I'm going to get into the other accounts that I have. I have 2 credit unions and I have 2 bank accounts, right? So I have the Mid Florida, I have the USF, and then I have a TD bank account, and then I have a Chase bank account, right? So I have 4 bank accounts, and again, I really don't need 4, right? And the thing was, since I kept them open, I would leave money in the credit union. So every time I needed to take money out, it was a hassle. I had to drive into the bank. You can't withdraw too much from the ATM. That was another downfall for me. Like, you can only withdraw like a few $100. If you try to withdraw $1,000, you have to sign all this paperwork. So yeah, I think, in 2025, I'm just going to close out these credit unions. I don't see, the point of it. Specifically, too, I plan on moving, right? Currently, where I'm at, I actually plan on moving out of this state. So credit unions are typically just good for the state you're in. Like you can do shared branch. Like if you ever used a credit union, you could go in and use shared branching. But I don't want to do that, right? I just want to knock it down. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of the two credit unions, right? Get those out, withdraw my money from them, and then and then also too, any personal line of credit I have with that credit union, I'm just closing it out altogether. I don't want to deal with the credit union. If I ever need to go back to the credit union to get a lower rate or something, I'll just open it up at that time or something like that. But I'm not going to go out of my way to keep it open. All right, and then I'm going to keep the TD and the Chase open. Now, the way I do it with TD, I just have a savings account at TD. It's one of those places where it's kind of like Chase, where they're like everywhere, but I'm not gonna have a checking account because it's just a place where I could put money and things like that, and I don't have to worry about dipping into it or having a debit card associated to my TD account. Now, the reason why I do that, I explained this before, but it's easier to have an account and save money when you don't really have like a debit card tied to it, right? So that's kind of what the TD account is going to be for. The TD account is going to be, a place where I could just put money, maybe like emergency savings and stuff like that. And I don't have to worry about dipping into it. I mean, I could take money out of it, but I just like to make it hard, right? I don't have a debit card associated to it. Every time I go into the bank too, they're always like, oh, do you want to open a checking account? I'm like, no, I'm good. All right. And then my Chase is kind of going to be my main bank account, right? Chase is going to be my main bank account because again, I just decided to go with Chase overall, right? Because with the credit cards I mentioned earlier, they do good with points. A lot of you too, I forgot to mention with the credit cards, people are like, oh, what about the points? You could get points from here because Citi does actually offer some good points, cash back and stuff like that. But you get really good points with Chase, right? With the Sapphire Preferred and the Chase Freedom, I get good points, right? It's almost similar to all what you get all around, right? There's really, maybe one bank can offer you a little more points for a time period, but typically they all revert back to the same point scheme, right? And I think Chase does really well. All right, so yeah, those are the two, the two banks I'm going to keep. So I just want to go over again what I plan to do. First, I plan to reduce my credit cards, right? I'm going to close out 3. I have 6. No, close out 2. I have 6. I'm going to reduce my bank accounts from 4 to 2, right? 4 to 2. And what this is going to allow me to do too, one of the benefits of this is it's going to allow me to actually track everything a lot better. I plan to actually plan on getting an app that can connect to my bank accounts and potentially my credit cards too. And I found that in order to do this, I really needed to simplify my finances. I couldn't just keep all these accounts open and really keep track of everything. I really want to get, really detailed with my finances going forward in 2025. I was detailed before, like disciplined with my spending and stuff like that. I know what comes in, I know what goes out, but I really want to get more detailed. And maybe I make some videos actually about the budgeting, right? Because that's going to be kind of part of the channel and how I'm going to add more videos and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. Close out 2 of those credit cards, close out 2 banks. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do to simplify my finances going into 2025, I'm going to build out a cash position after the crypto bull market. Now, for most of you that don't know, I solely invest in crypto right now, right? Reason being, I just see the most upside as far as investments, a return. Over since I got into crypto in 2017. I just seen way better returns in the crypto market than the stock market. Now, not saying you couldn't make a good amount of money in the stock market from 2017 to now, but you know, overall, crypto just takes the trophy. Now you have your stuff like Nvidia, you have Palantir. You have a bunch of stocks that do that. Now, the reason why I'm just going to, so my plan is to cash out of the crypto bull market, right? Uh, be in a total cash position, right? Now, again, this is what I'm doing. This is not financial advice. Maybe you guys have your 401k. Again, I don't really believe in the 401k. I've been working corporate for since I was 20 and I'm 31 now, and I never had a 401k, right? And that's how much I don't believe in having a 401k. I just never signed up for it. So, so that is what I plan to do. Get into a cash position after the crypto bull market, and the reason being is because I just don't see the point in being in the market 24/7. Now, again, this is for me. This is not for you, right? And now you can do whatever you want to do, but I just want to be in cash. And the reason being, I think there's going to be a huge downturn going into the end of 2025. I think we do get into some type of recession. Now, I don't know if it's going to be like a huge recession or depression or whatever. I don't know, but I think prices will correct at 2025, at the end of 2025. And the reason being is because, I'm following the crypto bull cycle, and just what people are saying all around, like all the indicators suggest that we are going into a recession at the end of 2025, going into 2026. Now, whether it's a mild recession, I don't know. But the best thing to be in when there's a recession is to be in cash, right? Like if you're in the S&P when there's a recession, you may not take a brunt, like the most of the downfall, because you're kind of like well diversified, but you're still going to see, during a recession, 15 to 20% drawdown. And that could be, very significant to some of your portfolios. And then also a lot of you are in single stocks. So, if that's the case for some of you, it doesn't make sense for me at least, to be in a position. I just want to be in cash, and I've learned this it's almost been clear since the last 3-4 years that the best position to be in is cash. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to invest. I'm just saying I'm going to pick the times where I'm invested, right? I'm not going to be invested 24/7. At least this point in my life, right? I could see a point in my life where I am just invested in the S&P. But right now, I'm young, so I want to be more of a sniper, and I want to, I want to really analyze what I'm getting into, right? And I'm going to have help doing this, as far as I'm not just, I'm not the biggest expert in picking stocks and crypto, right? I do my own research, but I do have newsletters that help me out. I pay thousands of dollars for newsletters. I do have subscriptions to financial outlets and stuff like that help me make my decision. But I think there's just a lot more upside, right? If you were able to pick some of the obvious stocks, and honestly, I think, maybe Nvidia wasn't obvious like at, $2-3, right? Nobody probably got into Nvidia at $2-3, but maybe it was obvious at like, when it got to 70 or $80, right? I'd rather have been invested in Nvidia at 80-90 bucks than the S&P, and it would have got you probably 4 to 5x. So those are the type of trades that I plan on taking, where it's like, okay, I have a big cash position. I may put, a 5-figure, 6-figure position in a stock or a crypto, and let that do its thing, and take out and do it like that. And most of you could call it trading, but it's more going to be like swing trading. I'm not trying to day trade or anything like that. I've done that before. Didn't work out that good. And, I'm not doing day trading. I'm not dealing with penny stocks. I'm dealing with big boy, blue chip, assets, and, like 50 billion plus. So these things are not going to go bankrupt overnight, right? So, and there's going to be a lot of due diligence done. So that's the third thing I'm going to do. I'm going to build out a cash position after this crypto bull market. That's very important because I'm not going to miss this crypto bull market. Obviously, I've been waiting for it for the last 3 to 4 years. I've been in the last two cycles. This cycle, I feel the most prepared. So, and I've learned that, taking profit early, building out your cash position before the next bear cycle is the most important, right? So yeah, those are the three things I plan to do to simplify my finances in 2025. I plan to reduce the amount of credit cards. I don't want to have minimum payments here or payments here. Pay this balance off. I'm going to significantly reduce that. I'm going to reduce the amount of bank accounts that I have. I'm only going to go to 2 bank accounts, one savings, and then maybe one checking and savings and something like that. But just reduce it to 2. And again, they're top tier bank accounts. I'm not going to be messing with all these little bank accounts and things that their app is just outdated. They don't develop the technology. I'm just kind of over it. And then 3, I'm going to build out a cash position for at the end of 2025 after this crypto bull market. And then from there, just kind of take a sniper approach in investing and things like that. And I'm going to bring you guys along. I'm going to, as I make those investments, and I'll probably share too my crypto positions too. I don't like sharing my crypto position now as we're in the bull market. I'm not like everybody else where it's like, okay, I'm invested in this, and they try to like pump the coin, even though the channel is only at 800 and whatever it is. But I'm not trying to pump anything up, right? So after, I'll disclose what I got in, but I think going forward after this crypto bull market, I'll start disclosing like, okay, I got into this, because those are going to kind of be more long-term positions, but they're not going to be like the S&P or something like that. But yeah, that's what I plan to do in 2025 to simplify my finances. This is not financial advice. You got to do your own due diligence, whatever works for you. I just found that, lately in the last 4 or 5 years, it's just too much to look at, right? You open the app, password here, password there. I just really want it to be simplified. And I think the more you simplify your finances, the easier it'll be to, manage them, right? You don't want to have too many things, and it kind of like just lowers the liability. So it lowers the liability and it gives you control. But that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.